everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Indeed Brewing Company, Minneapolis. Our tap room here in Northeast Minneapolis, 711 15th Avenue Northeast, where you can't come and visit unless you want to stand outside and awkwardly buy crowlers, which I recommend. It's a great experience, actually. We're back. I counted up today. The tap room has been closed for 25 days, which means I've eaten about 25 pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, drank at least 25 beers, and probably done 25 other really unhealthy things for myself. But you know, I'm still surviving, and I'm actually getting out for a little bit of a run too, trying to take care of myself. Pretty exciting show today. Very exciting show. It's amazing the people that are willing to come and join us on the show, whether it be virtually or digitally or not. Today we have pretty exciting segments. We have something called Books and Beers. So a lot of us are at home right now, and if there's a rainy day or in the evening, you might want to read a book and maybe drink some beer. I'd recommend it. We got Dan Oskey, founder and owner of Tattersall Distilling, one of our neighbors just across the tracks here. Amazing distillery, probably in the last 10 years, the distillery that's opened up that's really made a lot of waves. Dan's going to teach me how to make some cocktails, and they actually use Indeed beer, which is pretty exciting. So as much as I love alcohol, I'm not very good at making cocktails, so I'm super excited about that. And then we did an interview on Wednesday with Jana Shorel from Care 11. Talked to her about all sorts of things related to her job and COVID-19 and what's going on in the world. So that's pretty exciting. We got the celebrity here to join us on the show, and we're going to have a little bit of fun, some fun information from some of our bartenders down in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee Tap Room. So welcome to the show. It's pretty exciting. I think there's people viewing it even on Facebook worldwide. We've got viewers across the world. And yeah, we're happy to have you here. So before we get started, a little bit of a public service announcement that you should choose takeout.
I'm hungry.
So, I've mentioned it before, but there's a lot of, if you look it up on the internet, there's a lot of evidence that cooking for yourself is extremely dangerous, actually. You could end up in the hospital, and at this time right now, when we don't want extra people in the hospitals from food poisoning yourself at home, consider getting takeout from some of the great restaurants, both here, anywhere, no matter where you live. These places have been shut down to normal business, and they could use you stopping by and getting some food to go. It's Friday. You're probably going to kick back and relax tonight. You might enjoy some adult beverages. You might do other things. When you get hungry, maybe you want to call up your local restaurant and get some food. So there's a lot of options out there. First of all, I'm not sure how long they're going to be here, but we have mini donuts here in the Indeed parking lot. So when you come down to get some takeout beer, you can get mini donuts. The smell is like wafting through Northeast Minneapolis and even further than that. But there's some other places. Think about like Darby's. They're known for their chili and burgers and Reuben's. Black Sheep Pizza, a great spot in the North Loop. Their eggplant dip is amazing. Tavern 4 and 5 in, I believe that's Eden Prairie. Takeout lunch and dinner and brunch on the weekends. Biscuits and gravy with the tavern hash brown potatoes is awesome. These are recommendations from our sales team. They know what's up. Tinto Kitchen on 50th and Penn in South Minneapolis. Curbside pickup, you can call them at 612-354-2130. Great ceviche and tacos. You can't go wrong with anything on the menu, and pairs great with Mexican Honey Light. That's a good recommendation right there. Brunson Wings, St. Dinette, the Cheeseburger, Blue Door for their tachos, Lagos Tacos in Uptown and Excelsior, Sesame Chicken Tacos. It's a game changer, apparently, according to one of our sales team. In Milwaukee, you've got all sorts of great stuff down there too. Just consider getting some takeout. I've been cooking at home too and trying to eat actually somewhat healthy besides all the ice cream. But maybe consider getting some takeout and supporting those local businesses so they're there when we all get to go out and dine out again. So please consider that. And also, think about tipping our taproom staff. So I actually don't have a beer, and we've been kind of doing this whenever this segment comes on. We've been imagining that it's a Friday afternoon, it's 5 o'clock. You'd be here right now, right? You'd be here in the Minneapolis tap room or the Milwaukee tap room, and there'd be a really great professional beer tender back here, someone who knows all about our beer, and they've worked hard to know all that. They're back in the brewery asking the brewers questions. They're keeping the bar nice and clean, and they really like to pour really nice, delicious beers. And I'm going to break one of our rules right now, which is I'm going to fill a glass up with some beer just to kind of remind you of that experience and encourage you to tip our taproom staff. We got a couple of them that are working up in the Ox selling that beer to go, so there's a little bit of income there. But honestly, most of them are out of work right now, and the majority of their income is from tips, and they could really use that support. We've raised a couple $1,000 over the last few weeks already for those folks, but that gets divided up by like 20 people or so. So you'd be here, and I'm gonna pour this beer because you guys are gonna be busy pulling up your Venmo and tipping our staff. And for example, I like to drink Pilsners on Fridays, and I wouldn't have to pour this myself. Usually I'd have a taproom staff person, and even myself as the owner of the brewery, I tip them money. I slide $5 across the table sometimes if I'm feeling generous. If not, I tip $1 or $2, that's fine too. So I'm gonna pour this delicious beer. Isn't that great? Don't you guys want to come back here and drink beer? Oh, you know what? It's kind of extra head there, but I kind of like it that way. And so there you go, beautiful beer. And if I did that for you, you would tip me money. And I would use that money to pay my rent, to pay for my coin laundry, to feed my dog, maybe to go on a vacation somewhere. All these important things. You can help them out. Send some money via Venmo, goes right to them. And then on top of that, another way you can support both the brewery and our staff is to come down here and get takeout beer to go. We've got crowlers and growlers, beer to go at both Minneapolis and Milwaukee. Really delicious beers that are available, including the Pilsner that I just poured myself. Strawberry Fields is coming out in cans, but you can get it in crowlers right now at the brewery.
It is out in cans.
It is out in cans. You can also get it at crowlers at the brewery. Or if you're not feeling like drinking any alcohol, we got Lull, CBD seltzer. I can't make any medical claims about what CBD does for you, but it might be something that's nice to relax with, if you're feeling a little anxious at home. Crowlers are great, great thing to split. They're about 25 ounces here at Indeed. And also, consider going to your local liquor store and buying beer. Like we said, Strawberry Fields is out in these 4-pack 12-ounce cans. Delicious Strawberry Fields. Shenanigans Summer Ale's hitting the market. We got LSD, Mexican Honey Light, just to name a few. So this is that's almost like I'm on QVC for beer. And it's pretty fun, actually. So yeah, consider that. Consider coming down to the tap room, getting some beer to go. And keep an eye on our social media because we have some pretty cool things going on with like beer flights that you get to take home. So next up we got a pretty cool segment. This is a new segment for the Who Needs a Beer show. And we got Bria, and she's a professional librarian. So we've been working really hard to find real professionals. Last week we had a professional weatherman. We have a professional TV anchor on in our interview today. We have a professional distillery owner and cocktail mixologist guy that's going to be on here named Dan. He's going to show me some stuff. We also have a professional librarian, and I think that's really cool. So here's a little segment on pairing Indeed beers with books.
Hi everyone, I'm Bree. I work at the Columbia Heights Public Library, and I know one of my favorite things to do when the weather starts getting warmer is to grab a book and maybe a beer and head outside and read. So I'm here today to share some book recommendations that pair with different Indeed beers. The first book I want to recommend pairs well with Day Tripper because it's been considered by some to be a modern classic, and that is The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. Our main character, Oscar, is a bit of a fanboy. There are a lot of Lord of the Rings references in this book, and at first it seems like it's really just concerned about Oscar's love life or lack thereof. But as you continue to read, this beautiful family saga unfolds that's full of Dominican history and culture, and it's just a beautiful story. So from the title, Oscar's life is going to be short, but you're left guessing what happens until the very end of the book. And believe me, it's a ride you're going to want to go on. The next book I have pairs well with LSD because it's a trippy bit of metafiction with a dash of magical realism, and that book is A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. A time being is someone who lives in time, and that means you and me and every one of us who is or was or ever will be. Those are words from a journal entry by Now, who's a 16-year-old girl living in Japan. Her diary washes ashore and is discovered by Ruth, who is a novelist living on a remote island off the coast of British Columbia. And the book is told through those two narratives, Now's and Ruth's. There are a lot of topics covered in the book, such as Zen Buddhism, quantum physics, Japanese bullying culture. It leaves you unsettled and unsure. It asks you to question and think deeply, and of course, it contemplates the meaning of life. It's just a great book, and a wonderful book to talk to friends about after you read. Okay, how about a record store saga set in the 80s to pair with Flavor Wave? The Music Shop by Rachel Joyce is a gentle novel about a gentle record store owner named Frank. Frank has the uncanny ability to pair music with customers that will heal them, whether it's Vivaldi or Duke Ellington or the Sex Pistols. And Frank and the other store owners on Unity Street are banding together to fight against a local development company that's trying to buy up all the buildings, tear them down, and then build high-rise housing. So change is coming, and no one is more resistant to this than Frank, who has been pressured by record companies for years now to sell CDs instead of his beloved vinyl. And this novel is one of love and change and personal transformation, and it's also a celebration of community. My last pairing is The Lager Queen of Minnesota by J. Ryan Straddle, and that's paired with Mexican Honey Light Lager. This author also wrote Kitchens of the Great Midwest, and this book in particular is a love letter to the Midwest. It follows two sisters, Edith and Helen. Edith has a heart the size of Minnesota. She's got an award-winning pie recipe, but she has so many overdue bills to pay. Her sister Helen, on the other hand, is steel-hearted and cold, but she has built a beer empire from the ground up. And you're left wondering as the story unfolds, if beer can tear these two apart, can it bring them back together? So this book is light, it's refreshing and easy, and it's a great pairing with Mexican Honey Light Lager. Okay, before we go, I have to give a quick shout out to the public libraries out there. Even though we're closed to the public right now, your local library is out there available for you and wanting to help. So give them a call, check out their Facebook page or their website, and we can connect you with ebooks and other e-resources, and you might even find some virtual programming. So connect with your local library. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Happy reading.
That was great. Thanks, Bria. Awesome new segment, books and beer. I'm probably going to sit down and drink 12 beers and read a book, actually. We have a very exciting guest coming up here now. Fantastic Northeast neighbor, has become a Northeast institution and distribute their alcohol, their spirits, across the country, actually, and have the best cocktail. Let's just say it, the best cocktail room in all of Minnesota. I'd like to welcome the co-founder of Tattersall Brewing, Dan Oskey. Oh, we got Dan Oskey. He disappeared. Look at that.
There we go.
Thanks for joining us on Who Needs a Beer?
Yeah.
How are you doing these days?
I'm doing really good.
Yeah?
Making a lot of sanitizer.
A lot of sanitizer.
Yeah.
So what's that? Are you selling this sanitizer, or is this all being given away, or?
It's both. It's a combination. This week we did about 20,000 gallons, and so there's a website called allhandsmn.org, and the mission of it is basically about 65% of it goes out for free to first responders, nursing homes, healthcare workers, etc. And then the other 35% of that is sold to big companies, which basically funds the project. And
So
it's bonkers.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, how do you make sanitizer?
Um,
Hand sanitizer.
Ethanol, denatured ethanol. And
Which is a
then-
product you already have.
Yeah, well, we're now ordering it in. I mean, we can't keep up.
Sure.
Possibly. So, I mean, sadly, the first week we actually mixed in some of our high-proof whiskey, and that was a sad loss. And then now we're bringing in ethanol from different partners around the Midwest, and then mix that with glycerol, hydrogen peroxide, water. And so it's a WHO recipe that is basically public for distilleries to make if they can.
Wow.
So.
That's fantastic. You said you're giving away like 65% of it.
65%. So right now we have a staging dock at our distillery, which no one's allowed inside. We're trying to keep our distillers safe. We're trying to keep everybody safe. There's basically 3 teams, and none of them actually even see each other really all day.
Yeah, we have sort of the same thing going on
Yeah.
here.
And then people come up to the front, basically the garage doors. There's a little staging area right there where we keep our distance from them. And basically they pick up their sanitizer. So we basically give everybody a time slot to come in and pick it up.
Was there ever a time in your life that you thought you'd be making hand sanitizer at your distillery?
It was always a dream of mine. So I think I achieved that. No, and it's weird to think back to 4 weeks ago when things were relatively normal.
Yeah.
And to basically stop on a dime and just start a whole new business. Basically, I mean, we had to learn. The first week I think we did 1,000 gallons, and now we're doing 20,000 gallons. And so it's like we're actually getting good at it, which hopefully we don't have to be good at for too much longer, and we can get back to making hard alcohol.
You haven't had any like nightmare spills of hand sanitizer, have you?
No, but I have.
Has anything gone wrong?
No, nothing's really gone wrong. I have nightmares though about not being able to keep up on making hand sanitizer. It's kind of classic like bartender like dream where you can never keep up with the tickets. So now it's just I can't keep up with bottling hand sanitizer.
That's
so,
awesome. I think
yeah.
that's really, really cool. How is business otherwise?
Business is okay. It was good. We depend obviously a lot on the on-premise, the bars and the restaurants.
Yeah.
Off-premise has been very supportive, which is great, but about half of our business is on-premise. And so right now what we're doing is we're just trying to drop off as much sanitizer at any place that's doing curbside, and then of course all the liquor stores, because we just want to make sure everybody's safe. So
Yeah.
basically have two guys and myself kind of just running around and dropping off sanitizer like in our free time.
You think you'll keep doing it after this is all over?
I hope not. I hope not.
You brought some stuff to make some pretty cool cocktails today.
Yeah, so no shaker, no strainer, no muddling. These are really, really simple. 2 of our kind of ready to drink products. So we've got our bootlegger, which is our vodka redistilled with lemon peel, lime peel, and mint. And I'm kind of like laughing because I'm like, oh, I get to pitch booze again. This is fun. I haven't done this in a while. And then it also has a little bit of sugar in there, and then a little bit of acidifier in there, so citric acid and malic acid.
So is this
also.
meant just to drink by itself or meant to always mix?
We normally pour this over ice and then add soda water.
Oh, nice.
So 1-to-1. Same thing with the salty dog. This one's, and both of them are really kind of malleable, but this one's really malleable. You can do a lot with this. This is basically a grapefruit distill where we take grapefruit peel, distill that with a little bit of juniper, a little bit of ginger, and then we back blend a little bit of clarified grapefruit juice, and then there is a little bit of acidifier in this one too. This is really cool. You can just pour this over ice, a little bit of soda. You can pour this over ice, ginger beer. You can shake it with some tequila. Somebody told me today like 3 parts of this to 2 parts rye whiskey is incredible.
Nice.
So we're seeing people getting really creative with this. This was going to be our big like 2020 like launch on April 1 this year. So you can find it out there locally in Minnesota. Not really anywhere else right now, but it is definitely in the Minneapolis area.
Are you guys selling spirits to go at the distillery?
We're not. We're trying to just for safety reasons of both our staff and the public. We're not letting anybody in. So we're not doing like the cocktail kits or the 375s right now. We're just like sanitizers.
Well, good on you. That's trying to make the most responsible decision. I know we all are. All right. Well, do you want to make it for me?
Yeah.
You want me to make it, or
It's either way.
I want to make at least one.
Okay.
I'm a hands-on guy.
So these are really, really difficult to make. You're gonna take half of that. Half of the drink is gonna be the salty dog, and then half will be the flavor wave.
Here's some
Thank you.
Tattersall hand sanitizer for you. All right, say again.
Okay, so just 50-50.
50-50? I think I can figure that out.
It's super easy. And same thing with this. So that one is a salty dog with a flavor wave, which is really cool. I'll let you explain the flavor.
Cool. Check that out.
That's all right. That'll work. That'll work.
50-50.
Said 50-50, right?
And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do bootlegger.
I feel like this is like,
Yeah.
what kind of disaster is going to happen here?
What could possibly go wrong? This is bootlegger with.
Is there more booze in the flavor wave or in the salty dog?
The salty dog's 70 proof, so it's pretty strong.
Let's go. Giddy up.
Put 8 ounces of it in there.
Give it a little stir with that.
Stir. Ooh, it looks good.
That's incredible.
That's a nice looking color there. Orange is my favorite color. And I'd say that's kind of orange.
Some say orange is the new black.
Orange is the new black. All right, so salty dog with grapefruit with flavor wave. Oh, wow.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a subtle, non-bitter grapefruit flavor. It's rounded out by the maltiness of the beer, and then the hops kind of like, it actually has some.
The hops become tropical. It's
Yeah.
like papaya and pineapple. It's super.
It's a
super
lot of
cool.
hop aroma, and then
Yeah.
you got a little grapefruit already, which is, a lot of IPAs kind of already have that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Should we go to the technical difficulty slide so I can slam this?
Yeah, you can do that.
All right, well, I'll be honest, kind of having a hard time finding things to break around here. So if you guys would send in some suggestions of things to break, I think that'd be really helpful. Most of the things in the brewery are actually pretty valuable. And I've kind of run out of junk, and I think you're going to get bored with me breaking pint glasses and things like that. So I did find this, though. Well, we have this new video tech. His name is Carl, and we apologize about that. Carl has been fired, and we hired a new person already. But we're back, we're live. You guys got a little sneak peek of the Break Me segment, or Break Something. I might be broken after this. We were just drinking this delicious cocktail here with Dan Oskey of Tattersall. What is the name of this salty dog with flavor? Is there a name for it?
I have no idea. I didn't even think about that.
It's okay. Flavor salt? Salty flavor?
Flavor dog?
Flavor dog.
Doggy wave?
Flavor dog. Flavor dog.
Flavor dog, I like it.
All right.
What's next?
This was the Strawberry Fields and the Bootlegger, which I'm already kind of sipping on a little bit over here. So it's basically the vodka, a little bit of lemon, lime, and mint, and then of course your Strawberry Fields sour. Which,
Love it.
yeah.
Yeah, the Strawberry Fields has a sourness. It's got a little bit of that kind of, it's gin in this, right?
It's vodka. It's
Vodka
vodka
with mint.
and lemon and lime.
Shows how much I know. It's fantastic.
Yeah, high proof, have fun, get hammered, enjoy your
I
quarantine.
could use that.
Drink 6 of these and it'll be over.
So people can buy these out in the market, right?
Yeah, all over town in Minneapolis, and we're starting to see this one kind of spreading all over now.
Yeah.
Bootleg's been out for about
It's
a
a-
year, about a year exactly. to the
People
date.
check that out. It's got a sailboat on it.
Yeah.
If there's any sailors out there, it's pretty cool.
Dan,
Yeah.
Sarah Cameron on Facebook would like to know if you're planning on selling the hand sanitizer.
You can hit us up on the allhandsminnesota.org. The one thing about that is right now it's mostly for bulk for first responders. But Sarah, we are working to get enough to support some retailers right now. And the idea there would be we would sell it to them at cost and they would sell it at the same price too. So nobody's making any money on that. That's the idea right now. We're just trying to catch up with, we have a backlog of about, I think, 1,200 people that need sanitizer as of today.
Wow.
So, but we are working around the clock, so we will catch up and you will see it soon. And we'll make an announcement on the allhandsmn.org website as soon as we do have some.
Great.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, I'm gonna leave these bottles for you so you can
All right.
enjoy the rest of your weekend and hopefully not remember it.
Yeah, I won't. It's
Be
be
chilly.
Monday, and I'll just be in a meeting, and
Yeah.
I won't regret a thing.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
You too.
All right, we'll see ya.
Take care.
I think it's time for the Break Me segment, which that's what we took a slight pause for, so I hope it's worth it. All right, well, I'll be honest. Kind of having a hard time finding things to break around here. So if you guys would send in some suggestions of things to break, I think that'd be really helpful. Most of the things in the brewery are actually pretty valuable. And I've kind of run out of junk, and I think you're going to get bored with me breaking pint glasses and things like that. So I did find this, though, this box. And I think this could be pretty fun to do. It's a box full of matches. And these are really great. They're actually Indeed Brewing Company matches. But I'm kind of wondering maybe what happens if I light the whole box on fire. You guys want me to try that? Let's do it. All right. I don't know if this will work or not. We're gonna give it a shot. You got the fire extinguisher handy?
No.
You have the fire extinguisher handy, Andy?
No, I do not.
That didn't work. We're gonna try that again. There's a really strong gust of wind that came up the first time and didn't help. Ah! That's fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're running out of things to break, so if you guys have any ideas for things to break, ideally not like the latest iPhone model or something like that, send them our way, because there's, like I said, there's most of the things around here are kind of valuable, and I might get yelled at if I break it.
So if you have my heart, Tom.
I've already broken your heart multiple times, Mark, late at night. You just don't remember. But if you have any ideas, you know, anything at all, we could throw it off the roof. Just shoot them over on Facebook or something. That was super fun, breaking something. We have another new and exciting segment today. In these uncertain times, you know, you might be wondering what's going to happen. You might be wondering what the hell is going to happen with my life, what's going to happen to my job. And you may have ignored before while you're driving by and you see late at night an open sign and another sign that says tarot reading or palm reading. Well, I'll tell you what, if there's ever been a time to start believing that stuff, it's now. And so we're going to bring it to you, a community tarot card reading.
Hi everyone, welcome to my little corner of the universe. My name is Johanna. I am a medicinal tarot reader, and I am here to do a collective reading for the Indeed community. So what we'll be doing is pulling 3 cards. Our first card focusing on our current situation. We're feeling a lot of things at once. We're dealing with a lot of things at once, and I think it's important for us to just sort of take a moment and sort of see what this current situation means to us. So that's going to be our first card. Our second card is going to be more so understanding internal and external influences that are affecting us during this time. It can be really revealing to get a glimpse of what's underneath the surface with us right now. So that's what our second card's going to focus on. And then our third card sort of going to be like, what is our tool? What is our weapon? What can we take and lean on, lean into? Is it something that needs to be revealed to us? More so, what can we take moving forward during this time? So, if you're ready, let's have a little fun. Our first card, our current situation. Well, this is funny. Doing a reading for the Indeed community. This is the Three of Cups. As you can see, we got three lovely ladies cheersing right now. So cheers to you. Cheers to you. Tip your bartenders. When we're dealing with the suit cups, this is all about feelings, emotions, relationships. This is literally what we're doing right now, connecting with our communities and celebrating the little wins, celebrating the blessings in disguise. I think there's a very much a playful nature to this card, and I think it's that is important to tune into, especially with everything going on. This is like literally our current situation right now. So that's funny. And then our second card that we're going to be pulling is internal, external influences. Sort of looking again underneath the hood, underneath our surface, and gaining a little bit more insight to what's affecting us and going on. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have the Eight of Cups. Can you see that? There's 8 cups stacked, and then there's a figure walking away from the cups. And it's interesting how the cups are stacked in this card. You can take 8 cups and stack them in different ways, whether it's 4-4, 6-2, math. You can definitely, there's different ways to build our 8 of Cups. So when we're looking at this card really comes down to perspective. Choice. We're all dealing collectively with this really, really large, oppressive, revealing, unknown, current circumstance right now. So when we're looking at this card, the Eight of Cups, as an internal and external influence, I think it's reminding yourself that you have choice. You have choice to how you put your cups together, how you put yourself together, your emotions, your feelings. Whether that's the choice to rest, whether that's the choice to limit your news intake, whether that's a choice to be here right now participating with me and with us. And I would say too, along with choice, and with cups as well, what are you filling your cups up with? I think it's really important as we're thinking of the choices that we're making and making sure that we're honoring ourselves in those choices, making sure that we're listening to ourselves instead of feeding into everything else that's going on. Let's take a moment. One of my handy dandy tarot notebooks, books, and read a little bit more of what the Eight of Cups means. So you can see, Eight of Cups. The cup suit is linked to our emotional well-being, and the Eight of Cups stands as a warning that your energy has become stagnant. Well, yeah, we're sort of locked in our homes right now. Either a situation or relationship in your life has left you depleted creatively, emotionally, or physically, and you may feel it would be easier to completely abandon the situation. This reading is asking you to simply stop for a moment. Look at this time to evaluate yourself and to tap into your deepest reserves of strength once again. This is really a moment of reflection. Taking taking stock of how you're feeling in the different aspects of your life. Disappointments are sometimes inevitable in our journey, but what makes this voyage epic is our ability to continue to move forward. Today, open yourself up to something new and look for a deeper spiritual meaning in the process. Here, you will find your path is illuminated once again. Oh, that's beautiful. So again, when we're talking about the Eight of Cups, it comes down to choice. What is in your cups and how are you going to stack them? As we're in April right now, which is Aries month, there's a lot of fire energy going on in us right now, and that's hard to sort of release or expel if we're stuck inside. So again, I think with this card too, it's telling us to go inward, to really focus on what's working for us, what's not working for us, and churn through that energy. This is just like take a moment, reflect, and make sure you know what you need right now. I think especially in this time, whether that's reaching out to friends and family and tuning in, or maybe it's just going inward for yourself and taking that time, we gotta be gentle to ourselves right now. So, on top of that, let's pull our third card, some tools or something that needs to be revealed for us to continue through our epic voyage. Ooh, hot topic, justice. So this card is part of the major arcana, which is life chapters that we go through. And when we're talking about justice, I think, well, I know this is definitely talking about your own code, your own values, your own beliefs, tapping into and understanding and knowing what's right for you. Again, I think we live in a society where we're constantly overloaded, and even now, especially now, we're overstimulated even more. So again, I think it's really making sure that you are taking stock of your needs, your wants, knowing the difference between the two, and making sure that you're standing your ground. So again, thank you so much for letting me do a collective reading for you. If you are interested in doing a personal reading, please reach out to me, hit me on my DMs, and happy Friday, everyone. Tip your bartenders. Hello. I did a whole reading and it didn't record. It's fine.
Well, maybe it wasn't meant to be, babe.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be, babe. You're right. You're so right. Supposed to be behind the camera, man, not in front. So when we're dealing with a magician, we are dealing with all elements within our grasp. Air, water, fire. What's another one? Air, water, fire, earth. Duh. Take 1,000.
Well, that was super exciting. That was, thank you. Thank you to Joanna Scarlett. That was my first tarot card reading ever. And maybe my last, we'll see. Before we get to the screen, start tipping the taproom staff because I'm going to start calling you out. So our taproom staff needs to be tipped. And since you are the only, the 80 people that are watching this show, it's up to you to do it. I do want to call some people out. So, John Eager, $5. Matt Plank, $5. Those people work here at the brewery and they took a massive pay cut and they're still tipping the taproom staff. So how about you? We do have people here. Corey Bowman, don't know who you are. Thank you, $5. Tyler Nelson, $30. He says taproom for life. I agree. We're gonna be back. We're gonna be back in operation and we're gonna be able to tell if you tipped or not. John Gonrud, tip the bartenders. Cheers. Cheers to you, John. $10. Generous fellow. We've got Mitchell Gulbranson, $5. Best part of the week, he says. I think he's talking about how awesome our taproom staff is. It couldn't be this show. We've got Lucia. She just tipped money, $25. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you. It's rolling in. Adam Sorensen. Adam Sorensen, how you doing, buddy? 20 bucks. He's a medical worker. I bet he's involved in everything that's going on in COVID-19, and he's taking time to watch a show and give money. Good to hear from you, Adam. Hope you're doing well. Colin Galligan, 10 bucks. Lauren Walker, 15. Lindsay Slanga, 50 smackaroos. Holy cow. And Sarah Cameron, $5. I've got 3 drinks. I'd pour another beer and demonstrate that whole thing to you. Thank you for your guys' generosity. Please consider tipping some more through Venmo. You guys are the best. Thanks for watching. We are going to go on to another really cool segment, although I think the tips are going to keep rolling in. Let's see if we can get one more. Somebody. Is my mom watching? She's pretty reliable.
That was last week.
I know, but she tunes in every week. Where is she?
She did it once to be nice.
That's all right. Well, I'm sure there'll be one here before we go. We're going to give more shout outs here at the end of the show. If you still tip here in the next, 15, 20 minutes. There's another one. We got Eric Larson. He says he miss you, friends. 20 bucks. Thanks, Eric. All right. Special segment, interview with Jana Shortle from KARE 11 News. Just check it out. We can do a little intro and everything. So here's Jana. So I think we're recording. All right. Well, very cool today. We have a very cool guest, someone who's in the thick of things with everything COVID-19 related. We're joined by Jana Shortle from, is Shortle or Shortle?
That's a fancy way to say it. It's just Shortle.
Shortle. Reporter at KARE 11. She is co-anchor of Breaking the News at KARE 11. And also, I'm sure, doing all sorts of things since this whole pandemic has hit. Jana began reporting for KARE in December of 2003. According to the KARE website, just in time for the temperatures to fall below her idea of freezing. Before coming to KARE, she worked at Fox 4 in Kansas City and KRCG in Jefferson City. And she's actually received 5 regional Emmys in her career and is also a member of the National Association of LGBTQ Journalists. Thanks for joining me on Who Needs a Beer, Anna. Do we need to make a delivery down there at the,
seriously.
the studio?
I hear a lot of people are doing these Zoom happy hours. They start at 4:00. Looks like you are.
Yeah, actually, our staff happy hour is happening right now. But I'm really happy to meet you and have maybe a beer with you. So I guess to kick things off, this little variety show we're doing is just sort of it's a variety show. And we do believe that we've become a main source for information for all sorts of people because a lot of people used to come to the tap room and get all their information here. Yeah. But I guess I'm curious how this pandemic has affected your job.
Oh, man, they didn't teach us how to do this in journalism school. I can tell you that. It's affected the newsroom and the news business quite a bit. Obviously, journalists are working overtime, and we are honored to do it to try and get people the most information and the most accurate information we can about COVID-19 from the national level all the way to the local level. And so it's the new normal really is, at least from my perspective or from the local perspective, is every day you get numbers from the Minnesota Department of Health trying to tell people where COVID-19 is, where it isn't, what places have what they call hot zones, which don't, how many people have recovered, how many people are infected now, and how many people unfortunately have died. That happens every day in the morning, and then every afternoon at 2:00, we hear from our governor, the Department of Economic Development, and the Department of Health to kind of fill in the gaps of questions people might have. I've never lived through a time this long. I was a reporter when 9/11 happened as well. Mm-hmm. The difference now is that it's just, we hear from our government every single day, our state government at 2:00, and usually from the federal government in between 4 and 6. And that's happened every day for more than 2 weeks. Yeah. And I don't expect it will end anytime soon.
Yeah, it is an interesting story. I used to be a journalist as well. I was a photojournalist and worked at the Pioneer Press and the Star Tribune. And it was like, I remember the bridge collapse, covering the bridge collapse here in the Twin Cities. And that was a very traumatic time. And it was a lot of news very quickly. Yep. But there was kind of a point quickly where it became, okay, now we're doing the follow-ups.
Right.
And you sort of transition out of this active news situation where this is a totally different situation. In fact, it's just coming at us every day.
You're absolutely right. Different from those kind of points of trauma events, like the bridge collapse, where an event happens, a disaster happens, and then you react to that disaster that's already started and stopped in some ways.
Yeah.
This is not like that. It's just sustained trauma every day. And it's something that you can't quite see or follow. So you're following science, and we're really all learning, much like at the bridge collapse. The one similarity I would say is, none of us are licensed engineers, or were at that time. So we were learning all things new about construction, gusset plates, different things about what went on with infrastructure and money and stuff like that. Now we're learning what happens in a global pandemic, and how resources do and do not exist, and how precious they are, and how to get them to every single state and municipality in the country and in the world. Everybody's competing for the same set of resources.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow something so massive.
It is. It's global. Nobody's not affected by it. Are you finding good stories out there amidst the bad news?
Absolutely. I've noticed, people are really getting creative with their time. We noticed that a lot in the first week. I think the one that sticks out the most are birthdays. I bet I get messages every single day about what this block or this neighborhood did for someone's birthday, and they're all special and all amazing, or what this block, this community did for someone's anniversary, or what they did for someone's wedding that got canceled.
Yeah.
What small businesses are doing to rally around each other. We can't get to them all, which is also, it's too bad that you just almost have to aggregate them all and put them in one big story, because you can't quite do every single one of them.
Yeah. I've been inspired as well by people are adapting. It's amazing how adaptable people are, and how fast, I think, honestly, with how massive of a change this has been. I mean, obviously the largest change I've ever experienced in my life. I was alive for 9/11, and I think that in some ways, pales in comparison to this. But yeah, people are adapting quickly. I think getting past that first week of sort of just shock, and everything was hard, but now we're all trying to find a way forward. How has or does your responsibility as a public persona change in this situation?
I think that you just have to use good judgment. I mean, things that we would normally, or I would normally, how do I say this? Things that you're less flippant, you're more careful, because everybody's going through this as a community, but also individually. They're concerned about their family's health, their personal health. They're concerned about their jobs. They're concerned if they can make their mortgage.
Yeah.
They're carrying around so much weight at once that people are far more sensitive, I think, than they normally would be. And we always have to keep that in mind. And to that end, keeping down, at least for me, this is my philosophy, trying to tone down just arguing over whose fault something is all the time doesn't make this any better. I think the governor said it yesterday or the day before, in that his concern right now is not to point fingers, because we're in the middle of a burning fire right now. We've got to put the fire out or tamp the fire down. We can't say who started it. We'll get there.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's important for people. I know it's important to be the checks and balance. That's why the press was founded, to be the watchdog of the government. And we are doing that, but at the same time, being very cognizant of how much information people can process at one time.
Sure. Yeah, I think that, a lot of us are staying at home. I'm generally staying at home. I come into the brewery about 1 day a week tops. You are one of those people, just like delivery drivers and other key businesses that have people that need to be working. You're out there working, and thank goodness you are. Journalism is essential, especially in these times. How has this, how has this situation kind of changed the way that you interact with, people you might be interviewing or your colleagues? I mean, what kind of precautions are you taking, and how has it just changed the way that you do your job?
I mean, from each newsroom is different, but I'm sure they have many similarities depending on the type of news. So my job, as you would know, is a little bit different than a newspaper reporter. I can't just call or write things down because it's a visual medium. There has to be pictures and video, but the way that we gather that is so different. None of the photographers are in the newsroom anymore, and none of the full-time reporters are in the newsroom anymore. Newsrooms, people should know, function kind of like a giant open office where ideas and are debated and what should be covered and how it should be covered. And we do that as a collective, but we're not able to be a collective right now. So that's, it's just something we have to manage. And like everybody else, we've acquainted ourselves with every type of software to stay in touch as best we can. Many of my interviews are done just like this, via Zoom, via FaceTime, via Skype. We just record it via a screen. And we haven't had, to my knowledge, I haven't had anyone complain to me that they don't like it that way. It's the way it has to be to adhere to that stay-at-home order and to keep everybody safe. We're just figuring out ways to do it. But it's different. I do go out sometimes. I went out this afternoon. And to do that, I always ask the person I'm going to interview if they prefer that or not. Some people don't have the privilege and access to a broadband connection and a laptop to do this kind of interview. And their voices shouldn't be shut out during this process because they don't have that access. So I have to figure out a way to safely get to them.
That's a really interesting point. I've heard more about that, about the need to possibly even subsidize broadband access with all the homeschooling that's going on, working from home and even just personal connections, which will be interesting to see if the government does that. Because it's a pretty hefty charge every day for broadband. And there's a lot of people out there in rural parts of the country and the state even that don't have access to it. Where are you getting your news these days? What are you reading? What's your source of information besides going out there and digging it up?
It's really interesting. I try to, it's so funny if you read articles that are being published right now of how to stay healthy, mentally healthy right now. The usually first piece of advice is to stay away from the news in large quantities. And
good luck.
I agree. I just don't have that luxury. My days aren't altogether that different. I always, prior to this, I get up and then I start reading. I usually start with the locals. I start with the Strib and the Pie Press. I'll listen to NPR, and then I'll dive into a few nationals papers, and then I'll mine really just Twitter, not much Facebook. Facebook can get in the weeds sometimes for me, just to see what the latest is. But I think because people that do have access to online content right now, they're sharing more information with us because their lives have really stopped, and so they're in pretty constant communication with us about what's going on in their neighborhoods and their communities. Yeah,
that's great. Maybe shifting a little bit to a less serious topic, if you're okay with that.
That's fine. By
me. It's 4:00 roughly,
yes,
and you're the first person and I'm sitting here at the Indeed bar at the Indeed tap room in Minneapolis, and it's just you and me in the entire tap room here. It's really nice to be having a beer with you, even if you're drinking coffee or whatever that might be.
Just tea at this point.
But I do feel like we just met here sitting at the bar, and I think it's a lot of fun. I really miss that. I'm looking forward to getting back to it. So I'm going to ask you some less serious questions. Really appreciate your responses to some of those more serious things. It's really amazing to hear the work that you're doing right now. What is your favorite quarantine beer and activity combination?
That has changed too.
Oh no! Hopefully for good.
Oh my gosh! Well, yeah. My favorite quarantine beer. I haven't been to a liquor store in 2 weeks, and I'll say that with the caveat is that I bought so much beer 2 weeks ago and stocked it up in my garage like a beer prepper, just in case they had to close. Because I love beer. I'm sure your colleague Kelly could say more about how much I love beer. I'm an IPA person, but I don't like West Coast IPAs. I like the more American style IPA or the new almost dry finish IPAs. I like
Cool.
But I can't drink too many of them because then I'll just get a bit loopy by end of day.
Yeah, and you also sounds like you have to get up and actually work every day.
Yeah.
But a good old journalist usually can have a few of those and still get up and work. That's definitely
practice.
a test. That's practice. What's your favorite dish to cook at home these days?
Oh my gosh, this part is pretty sad. I'm not gonna lie. I have seen so many people, and I applaud you, people
Amazing
who are
food, yeah,
doing
on
like they're like
Instagram.
on the Bon Appetit Instagram and making
Yeah.
whatever. They're like
Yeah.
getting all chopped on that.
Yeah.
Uh, I stick to the basics. I eat a lot of, and this was always, I guess, good practice for food stock up. I eat so much rice that I think I eat it every day. I have kind of a funky stomach, journalism. So if they can supply me enough like rotisserie chickens at Lowry
Yep.
Hill Meats and enough rice, I do okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring.
I'm also the same way. I live by myself, so I'm only cooking for one. It's basically like tortilla. If I have a tortilla and I put something into it, then I don't have to make any. Like a tortilla is like a plate,
Absolutely, it is.
and it tastes delicious. And so I've just been kind of going with that right now.
See, and I identify more with that kind of. What are those folks doing? That
Yeah.
makes sense. I saw someone, maybe City Pages did it. They had a almost empty bag of tortilla chips, and so they just dumped it in a bowl and then dumped salsa in the bowl and then ate it with a spoon. That's me.
I can be a good cook, but right now I'm just sort of like, sustenance, whatever.
No, I'm not there yet. I'm saving all of the money that I can, so that when this ends, I can go to your tap room and every tap room and every restaurant and eat out every meal for as long as humanly possible.
It's gonna be so good, isn't
I'll
it?
weep.
I mean, I am too, and like to go sit down and somewhere and have someone come and serve you and be surrounded by other people enjoying and having a great time
Yeah.
and eat delicious food and then not have to clean up after yourself.
Right, and how meaningful like it will be to just be and be in community with people again. I think my temper will be like different, and I'll probably just cry a lot. I don't know, but I'll be at the tap room. You tell me what day it's open.
We're looking forward to it. I mean, today the governor, he announced an extension of our stay-at-home order. I think it's till May 3rd, I believe, at 11:59 p.m. That doesn't necessarily mean that bars and restaurants are going to open up that next day. I think we're all prepared to go through May if that's what is required to conquer this pandemic.
Yeah.
Anything you want to comment? And today is Wednesday, so this is going to air on Friday, so we're a couple days out. But anything you want to comment about just kind of what you saw today in the governor's press conference and that extension? And
it's not surprising. I think that I applaud our state government for taking this in a step-by-step approach. I know a lot of people, obviously, the story that we'll be telling after we get through this public health crisis, God willing that we get through it, will be how this affects every industry, every job, every income. And those stories will also be painful. So the stay-at-home order extension wasn't unexpected. It's happened in other states and cities. I mean, you don't want to gamble on that. It's just my opinion. If you think that things are going to peak, and they believe they may peak in this state by April 26th, then smart scenario is make sure people are inside all the way up until then, and maybe 14 days after that. Just to stay as safe as possible. It's so painful now. I realize that it's painful for everybody, but we have to get to a point where we're not gambling on what's on the other side, because we don't want to do this again.
Totally. There were some good articles recently, and one of them was in the New York Times that I read that actually had a historical perspective going back to the Spanish flu in 1918, and it looked at the differences between Minneapolis and St. Paul, which I enjoyed just because, I love to talk about which one's better, Minneapolis or St. Paul. And this article kind of got into it, but it was in 1918, and Minneapolis at that time took more aggressive actions, and St. Paul was more lax. And it was interesting to see how it played out with that flu in 1918, both by deaths and cases, but also the economic recovery. And it showed that the Minneapolis, who was more aggressive about shutting things down for longer and faster, actually had a faster economic recovery once the everything ended. And kind of the main point, I think, of the article was that it's not the actions that the government's taking right now or the precautions that we need to take as a society that are hurting your business or hurting the economy. It's the virus.
Right.
And the virus warrants a certain response. Yeah. And it's really not debatable, beyond the broad scale of just like, this is what's required in order for this to happen. So as a business owner myself, who's suffering, we're enduring this, but it's been a major impact on our business and our employees in particular, and a lot of our customers. I've definitely come around in that perspective of we need to do what we need to do to get through this. It's the virus that's the enemy. It's the problem. It's not the government that's making these restrictions. They're trying to do the best they can. So,
Right.
yeah.
And take the party politics out of it. I mean, it wouldn't behoove any government to shut its own state economy down. I mean,
Nobody wants that.
It's not good for them.
No. I mean, they delayed sales tax payments. They're not getting sales tax right now, which means municipalities aren't getting it, which means counties aren't getting it. On and on and on it goes. I mean, it's literally the entire economy is shut down. It's incredible.
Right. I mean, I was reading something, I'm sure you saw it too. It's kind of the difference between, I understand that New Zealand is a tiny nation comparatively speaking, but New Zealand decided in mid-March that, once they had, I believe, I don't even know if they had one case yet, maybe they had one, they shut it all down 4 weeks, no exceptions, far tighter restrictions than we have here. And the belief was, we're just going to lock everything up for 4 weeks. It's going to suck. And hopefully at the end of 4 weeks, we just come out of this clean. And it's looking like it's working there.
All right, rapid fire, and then we're going to wrap up.
Okay.
I've already taken 20 minutes of your precious time. So this is rapid fire. I'm going to ask you this or that, and you're going to respond as quickly as possible. I had Mayor Fry on here last week, and he was trying to be like political about the rapid fire questions. I'm like, Mayor, you just need to answer. Like, this isn't something you need to think about and call your press secretary about. So day tripper or flavor wave?
Flavor wave.
All right. LSD or Mexican honey?
LSD.
All right. Timberwolves or Lynx?
Lynx.
Pizza or burger?
Pizza.
Instant ramen or box mac and cheese?
Instant ramen.
All right. John Oliver or Trevor Noah?
Trevor Noah.
Sweatpants or skinny jeans?
Oh, well, I have a history of skinny jeans, and those got me in trouble, so I'll pick sweatpants.
Team Joe Exotic or Team Carol Baskin's Tiger King? I don't even know what that is.
I know what it is, but I haven't watched it.
Okay. We'll just kind of say pass. We're going to come back. Once we get back up and running, we're going to get you back on.
Okay.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
Good. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Zoom or Google Hangout?
Zoom.
Pen or pencil?
Pencil.
Card games or board games?
Board games.
Reading or writing?
Reading.
That's it. You passed. 100%.
Sans that Tiger King thing.
Yeah, we're gonna let that. There's one freebie on there. I'm not very good at grading.
Yeah. We're going pass fail this semester anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's for sure, isn't it? Oh man, if I was homeschooling kids right now, they'd be going backwards so fast.
Struggle is real.
It is. So I feel for those people that are having to deal with that, and much respect to them. I've already respected parents before now, but holy cow. So, Jana, it was so much fun to have you on the show and sit at the Indeed Taproom bar and basically have a beer with you.
I felt it. I felt like I was there.
I feel like
as close as I'm gonna get.
I feel like someone's about to kick me out any minute now because this place is closing down. All those chairs are stacked and everything. Nobody's sweeping, but they will be soon. So, thank you for everything you're doing as a journalist. I mean, obviously I have a history in journalism, but so much appreciate what you and everybody at CARE and the rest of the journalism industry are doing. Information has never been more important at this time. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep up the great work, and I look forward to toasting a beer with you when this is all through.
I look forward to that as well. Cheers to you and the whole Indeed family. Love you guys.
Thank you, Jana.
Yep.
Take care.
See ya.
All right, thanks for sticking with us, guys. That was really fun interviewing Jana Schertl from CARE 11. Like I said, it was like I was sitting at the taproom bar and I was just having a conversation with this really interesting person, which was so exciting. And you can do that still today. You can call your friend via, meeting, Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever. Just call anybody up. Before we get to Ask Me Anything and then wrap this show up, which is a little bit past schedule, we want to solicit some more tips real quick. And that's also because we've had some people put money in to our tip fund here for our taproom staff in that interview right there. And I want to call those people out. So Sarah Cameron, $5. Liberty Luckin, sounds like a scam, but I think you might be a real person. Love your Get Lives and look forward to taproom return, $20. It's got to be legit, right? Liberty, thank you very much. Justin White, 50 bucks. Tip jar. Can't wait to ski with you if we can get outside. Justin is like a big Indeed friend, and we're both skiers, and we've been sort of flirting on Instagram. And yes, buddy boy, we are gonna ski some POW next winter when it's open. Nick Vetter, she says $25. She's fangirling for the tarot card reader, and Jana, she says that's her ex-wife. I don't think so, Nick, but maybe. Jenny Chacon, 25 bucks. Nice emojis, whatnot. Jenny, I know you've tipped before, thank you very much. And Andy Kiekhofer, our master of sound and audio, is also tipped $25, or actually $50. Very generous of them. You guys, if you do have it in your capacity, I'm gonna pour this beer. We're gonna leave this tip jar thing up. You guys can watch me pour a beer. You can imagine that you're here in the tap room, and you're enjoying a beer, and you're watching me pour a beer. 1 second. You're gonna get a new glass. That looks pretty good. What do you think? Flavor wave?
Should we start the AMA while we do this?
Almost. We're gonna do Ask Me Anything in a second. We'll do a little flavor wave. Yeah, they've been with us for like an hour and a half already, so it's fine. We'll do a little flavor wave. Tip us. All right. So now we'll move into Ask Me Anything. And Chris Wick, thank you very much. 50 bucks from the Ideal Diner. Chris.
Yeah!
Chris is our good friend who works the flat top and runs the kitchen at the Ideal Diner. That's so generous of you, buddy boy. I miss you. It's been about 25 days. Hey, we're back.
Just change the battery pack. That's actually what's live. It's just that.
It's okay though. It'll be a few more seconds. Sorry about that, folks. We were praising Chris there at the Ideal Diner. Support your local Northeast businesses. Support the rest of your businesses. Let's do Ask Me Anything. Are you ready, Mark?
I sure am.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
All right, clean this up after Tom after he.
We're back. You killed the light.
Now we're down to 55, Tom.
Things are going just fine here. You guys don't tune out. Okay, we're gonna do Ask Me Anything. All right, ready? Let's go. What'd you ask me?
Who cleans up after Tom breaks something?
I have a whole cadre of Indeed employees that are unpaid currently, and they follow me around and clean up after me, including my house.
Wow.
I know, it's terrible.
Tom, what are the
Obviously
four
not true.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What are the 4 things that are always in your fridge?
The 4 things that are always in my fridge are tortillas, spicy brown mustard, sour cream, and beer.
PBR or hams?
PBR.
Really?
Absolutely.
Boxers or briefs?
Let's
just say Hanes.
Boxers, but I like the boxer briefs.
Okay. Kool-Aid Jammers or Capri Sun?
Capri Sun.
How many cameramen have you had to fire today?
How many cameramen have I had to fire today? 14 actually. The same guy keeps applying though.
Will you ever do the original Yama Jamma recipe?
No, because that involved like me driving to some place to pick up like way too many sweet potatoes, and then we had to like peel them and chop them up. And you know what? I'm sorry for the 25 people out there that drink Yama Jamma. It's just not worth it.
That's actually very true. What was the most satisfying thing for you to break?
The most satisfying thing for me to break, you know, I think hitting those glasses with that wrench the other day Although I had to spend an hour and a half cleaning up the glass that was everywhere.
Oh, there's still some over here.
There's still glass there. I found some in my finger earlier, but it's they're probably that. But I'm looking forward to some suggestions.
What is something people would be surprised to learn about you?
Something that people would be surprised to learn about me.
Is it your third nipple?
I don't have a third nipple. I had that removed recently. I guess something surprising about me.
Obviously, you're not an interesting person because you can't answer the question.
Well, no, there's so many things. It's like hard to tackle them. I guess when I was like all the way through like my like early teens, I cried a lot. I was like a big crier.
You gotta go fucking dark.
Like good. No, it's not dark. It's like I was just like an emotional little kid. You know, I was a crier. It's okay.
Sure.
Cried recently for the first time in a long time.
Is John Cryer your favorite actor? Never mind. Breakfast
Who?
or dinner? John Cryer.
I don't know who John Cryer is.
He's on 2.5 Men.
Keep it coming. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
What are the next infusions? People really want to know.
I don't know. Ask John Eager. His email is jon.eager@indeedbrewing.com. Ask him.
If Indeed didn't find the current location, where might it be?
If it weren't here,
Yeah, if it wasn't here.
it'd be in Dan Oskey's spot. We actually almost signed a lease right where Tattersall is, and we backed out on that deal and we ended up here. And then we ended up with Tattersall as a great neighbor, so it worked out just great.
Cilantro or basil?
Basil.
Sopranos or The Wire?
Wire, of course. That's what nobody knows this, but Indeed is named after The Wire. If you know the HBO miniseries The Wire, there's a character in there named Omar, and he says, "Oh, indeed." That's what this brewery is named after.
True story.
It's a true story.
When was the last time you charged the battery?
Ask our camera operator, Carl.
Follow-up question: How many cameramen have you had fired today?
We've fired 3 and we've eliminated 6 others. I don't want to describe what happened to them.
All right, fair enough. 1-ply or 2-ply?
Charmin Extra Strong.
So 3-ply.
I don't even know if it's 3-ply or what. I think it's actually like 3 plies fused together, but it's the best toilet paper. And I actually found some recently at a Target. I was down to like 6 rolls at home. I was getting a little nervous, and I found some toilet paper.
All right, that's nice.
No, it was, I mean, if anybody, I bought like the pack like this. If anybody needs any, just Venmo me a buck and I'll give you some.
Tom@indeedbrewing.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, speaking of email addresses, John Eager wants to know if you can have a new email address, please.
What's his email address? What does he want?
John, what do you want? Let's see what he says. Okay. New question: Which venue had the best concert during 2019? They say Art Walk, supposed to be Art Whirl, I believe.
Yeah. Well, obviously our lineup for Art Whirl is always fantastic.
We had Harmar last year.
We had Harmar last year. We had Happy Apple too.
Yep, Happy Apple last 2 years.
And also we had Halloween in Alaska, didn't we?
Yes, and yeah, Prettier Sandstone.
Unfortunately, we're still assessing our options with Art Whirl, but Art Whirl officially is canceled. But the best show that I saw last year, what did I see? I don't even remember. Remember when we go to concerts? That was crazy time. Let's wrap up this. Let's start crying again.
Let's just end this. All right. Tom, excuse me, Jerry Springer, what's your final thought?
All right, first we're going to talk about Beer to Go real quick because we have to do some pitches. So Beer to Go, you guys have stuck with us for 15 minutes past our scheduled time. It's supposed to be an hour-long show. You should think about getting some beer to go from the brewery. We're open pretty much 7 days a week, and you can get beer here. Go to our website, indeedbrewing.com, and come down here and buy some beer from our awesome taproom staff that are working out the front window of the Ox. It's just right on 15th Avenue, Northeast, and you pull up there, you can get beer to go. You can order online, you can order merch online, and also in Milwaukee. Same thing in Milwaukee. A little bit different hours. There they are on the screen. Minneapolis and Milwaukee, both selling beer to go. Get some takeout. Centro is right across the street from us. Tacos. They're doing to go like enchiladas in a pan. And Jamie, the owner over there, was kind enough to give me a big pan of enchiladas the other day. I ate them for like 3 days. They were delicious. Get some beer to go with that. Support your local businesses. My final thoughts are this. We were told this week that we are going to shelter in place for a while longer. And I think, there's part of me that kind of laughed and said, gosh, I'm actually just kind of getting used to this. I only need to wear a shirt. I can wear gym shorts below for all my video conferencing. It's kind of fun. We're all getting into our groove. I actually kind of felt like I kind of liked staying at home the other day. But, the reality is that I'm sitting here as a local business owner that's lost 50% of my revenue and had to reduce the compensation of our staff and make all these aggressive cuts. But the enemy is not the regulation that's coming in on us. It's not that. The enemy is the virus. We need to go through this and continue to follow these rules, and we will come out the other side in a better spot. And I am confident that Minnesota is going to come out in a better spot, both as a society and also in our industry and business, if we continue to believe and follow the instructions that we're given. This is not some big conspiracy. Take care of yourselves, take care of your friends. This is a real thing. We're hurting hard here at Indeed. All of our partners and neighbors are hurting hard as well. But it's time to follow those rules and adjust and find purpose in your life in the situation that we're in. Take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. This is a hard time for people who struggle with mental health. And your friends that maybe are struggling, call them. Now is time to be an aggressive friend. Reach out to your friends, call them, FaceTime them, Google Hangout, send them a package, whatever it may be, but reach out to them and express your love for them and your optimism to them. And finally, I guess, tune in again next Friday. We're gonna try to sell you stuff. We're gonna have amazing guests. We're talking like pro athletes next week. Who knows what we're gonna have? We'll see if we have a tarot card reading again, maybe not. We'll be back next Friday, April 17th at 5 p.m. And I just really appreciate y'all. And I'm really excited to get back to business here in the brewery as normal. But in the meantime, I really hope that everybody takes these things seriously. You saw I was wearing this today. A lot of times I'm wearing my mask, and that's okay. If not for myself, for others who are around me. And it is, it's like, how do I drink a beer with this? I have to figure that out still. But we love you here at Indeed. We hope you take care of yourselves. Stay positive, stay optimistic, find a path forward, and we'll see you next Friday. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, my name is Dale. Really, it is. But after a hard day of retirement, I want the good stuff that comes from Indeed Brewery right here in the Twin Cities and in Milwaukee. It's the best. Indeed it is.
Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. These are some troubling times we're in. Unfortunately, I've taken to drinking quite a bit. In fact, my favorite cocktail is a Manhattan currently, and I'm out of one. I just so happen to have something set up over here to make said drink. Would you look at that? It is in everything you need to make a proper Manhattan. Rye whiskey. Sweet vermouth. And truly what makes a proper Manhattan. After you enjoy these ingredients in here, you stir. And you stir a long time. There's no way to make a Manhattan without stirring. If you make one shaken, you're a buffoon. With that being said, you casually just pour this right into your glass, ice and all, the way it was intended to be drank. And after doing so, you greet your wife at the door with the Manhattan.
Honey, I'm home.
I made you this lovely Manhattan, darling. How is it?
Wow, thank you.
And tell me how it must be.
That's delicious. However, during these troubling times, I like pure booze.
Honey, you're not supposed to show the world this. Oh, wow. Indeed, that is quite a bit of alcohol. Is it not?